This is KC9ZSR, and the Brown and Kewaunee County's AERES net will begin in approximately 5 minutes. And I am swapping with KD9LHY, and so please be ready to check in. KC9ZSR.
This is the K9GB Repeater.
calling the Brown and Kewaunee County AERES network. This is KC9ZSR, and my name is Fred, and I'm located in the town of Green Bay on the east side in Brown County. Emergency and priority traffic may break the network at any time. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit unless network control asks you to. Please end transmissions with your call sign. This network meets Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. on 147.120 megahertz. The purpose of the network is to provide training, education, and information regarding AERES races. The network is also a part of the National Traffic System and is available for formal NTS traffic. Stations with traffic to list say your call sign and the word traffic. Your traffic will be listed after you are acknowledged. Stations with traffic, please call KC9ZSR. Are there any stations short time or in and out? Please call KC9ZSR.
KC9ZSR. Whiskey 9 Juliet Echo. Ed, Sturgeon Bay, Door County. Good evening, Fred. In and out. Supper time, but I will be listening.
Okay, the control recognizes W9JE, Ed, and in and out. I will now take regular check-ins. Please give my call sign, listen, then give your call to avoid doubling. Stations ready to check in tonight? Please call KC9ZSR.
KC9ZSR. This is Kilo Delta 9 Hotel Juliet, Dave, West Side de PERE.
That control. This is Kilo Bravo 3, Kilo Yankee Hotel, KB3KYH, Bill, downtown Green Bay.
KC9ZSR. Whiskey 9, Golf, Romeo, Bravo, Todd, Northeast Green Bay.
KC9ZSR. This is Kilo Delta 9, Victor Tango, Quebec. Just got done feeding the trick-or-treaters and checking in for the next.
KD9, would you please repeat your call sign again?
Kilo Delta 9, Victor Tango, Quebec.
Okay, let me just break it here, and I have KD9HJJ, KB3KYH, W9GRB, KD9YJH, and KD9VTQ. If I got any of those wrong, please let me know. But are there any more check-ins for tonight?
K9ZSR. This is November 8 Kilo Quebec Sierra, in and out, all the way done. KC9ZSR. This is Kilo Delta 9, Union Kilo Alpha. Kyle and Menasha. No traffic.
The last station, I didn't get your whole your suffix, please.
Yes, sir. Kilo Delta 9.
But the rest of it.
Union Kilo Alpha.
Okay, net control recognizes NAKQS, in and out. KD9 UKA. Are there any more check-ins for tonight? Please call KC9ZSR. Okay, hearing no other check-ins, we'll begin the training for tonight. And I don't know if it's exactly training or if it's kind of a little bit of a review. Anyway, I want to talk about message passing. For more than 100 years, amateurs have used the national traffic systems to pass messages across the country using AERES radiogram message forms. This form is filled out by verbal instructions and passed on to other traffic nets until the message reaches the recipient. Each transfer results in another dictation of the same message, hopefully with 100% accuracy. This is a slow process, but it has worked well using FM repeaters and HF frequencies. The AERES traffic nets are still being used, and Brown and Kewaunee County's AERES net is part of the national traffic system and ready to copy messages via the AERES radiogram. Now, AERES members are pretty much familiar with verbal dictation of ICS 213 message forms, and we frequently practice this mode.
This is the K9GB repeater.
Amateur radio operators are always looking for new ways to communicate via radio. Let's face it, we need faster modes of message passing to expand our effectiveness as the needs of our served agencies increase. As Dave pointed out last week, we need more forms to document what we do for legal reasons. If it is not documented, it did not happen. When we are activated for an emergency, we need a minimum of 4 forms: ICS 205, the 213, the 214, and the 309. These forms document what we contributed to the emergency. Now, in every case with emergencies, someone is always looking to put the blame somewhere. But hopefully not with the radio operators. In my 10 years of being involved with AERES, the first improvement I noticed was the linking of repeater systems to improve how far we could reach using 5-watt HTs. Even today, we are continuing to link repeater systems. More recently, we explored FL Digi and the host of digital modes like PSK31 and MT63. Digital modes use very little bandwidth, and they give us the ability to pass filled-out forms like the ICS 213, eliminating the need to verbally dictate what goes onto each line of the selected message form. This is a much faster way to communicate, plus we have a lot more forms available for us to use to better meet the needs of our served agencies. But with these great improvements, we have some new concerns. With all digital modes, we need to connect our radio to our computer so that we can interpret the digital tones transmitted. First, we must load the free FL Digi program onto our computers, and then the loaded FL Digi program, once it's loaded in, it was kind of tricky to get it to work with your transceiver. And sometimes it was hard to find how to do it, because if you didn't have a match, the computer would not respond to your radio. We put in a good deal of effort into the FL Digi MT63 digital mode, but it lost favor, and too few AERES members were interested in trying to set up this mode. It was a major improvement, but not the improvement we were looking for. In addition to passing filled out messages, the sender and receiver must have their rigs set to the MT63 mode to receive the digital message. The next improvement we tried was WinLink, which is an email type of digital message mode. You still need a computer with the WinLink program loaded, but there was no struggle to get the radio to work with the computer. You simply chose the WinLink program, and you go to your inbox, and you get your message whenever it's convenient for you to look for your messages. You don't need to be on WinLink to get the email. Another advantage of WinLink is that the program contains a large number of forms that you can use. These forms are updated frequently to keep them current. Now, there's a whole bunch of different choices you have on how you're going to send a message, but there's two main choices that you have. The first is via Telnet WinLink, and it goes just like any other normal email, and I presume via the internet. This system would likely be unavailable during an emergency. The second main choice is VARA HF WinLink. If you send a message via HF in the program, you can choose a WinLink repeater you wish to relay your message. You have a lot of repeaters to choose from, and the program also advises you on how likely you are to reach the repeater you're looking at. In an emergency, you can choose a repeater outside of your emergency area. Most repeaters that I've found, and I've done this quite a bit, about 500 miles away will likely work. And I would bet some maybe 1,000 miles or more away may be reachable. It all depends on propagation. The likelihood that your emergency is wider spread than a 500-mile radius seems unlikely to me. On the other hand, a near nationwide emergency could happen, and all repeaters could be down. We looked for an all HF mode that has no dependence on repeaters, thinking this might be better. And WingLink has tried to overcome this problem by developing P2P, and it does not use repeaters. Unlike the email system, the P2P mode requires the recipient of the message to have their computer on to the WingLink P2P mode. The program has to be on. You don't have to necessarily be there, but the program has to be on. And if more than 2 people are involved in the contact, the other folks need to be pre-approved, which is a completely different process. It can be done, but it's going to be a bit complicated. In addition, only pre-approved persons can receive the message, and so it really is a confidential mode. In a set where, and this is a fairly recent set, where P2P was used, I listened, and all I heard was silence. And I could, because I was not an approved participant. The P2P mode in a real emergency requires a lot of planning and testing. I've basically seen no need for a very complicated, highly confidential mode for emergencies where outside input may be critical to get help in your emergency. Okay, to sum up a little bit, digital modes all have problems we must deal with. They all require a computer hooked up to the radio. This means more power is needed to be provided to make this mode useful. And if you only have a battery, well, maybe that's going to be a little problem for you because computers do use quite a bit of power. The old and slow but proven dictation mode has the advantage of not needing a computer to send messages. Of the digital modes, VARA HF WingLink, in my opinion, has the most advantages of the digital modes we have tried. It is an email system and uses its own repeaters that may be 500 to 1,000 miles away from the emergency. It all depends on propagation too, but of course with HF, all HF, propagation is a big deal, especially with low power. It would have to be a near national disaster to have all the WingLink repeaters down at the same time, but it could happen. I remember the Northeast blackout of 1965 when no power was available in a wide area for 14 hours. And I think it was the whole East Coast or the Northeast and into the midsection of the country. And I think, we've had other blackouts as well. An attack on our electric grid, rendering no electrical power nationwide, is a realistic possibility.
This is the K9GB repeater.
We did a set several years ago where Net Control called on that, and we were inventing this scenario, and we had a lot of stations that checked in, and we were really going to town and making up our story. Anyway, we were allowed to use the repeaters for the first hour of the set. That's a simulated emergency test. The second hour, we could use the repeaters and had to rely on simplex. We quickly learned that net control could only communicate with one or two other stations. We concluded that simplex would not work for emergencies in Brown County, and I suppose for Kewaunee County also. However, there is renewed interest in seeing how we could improve simplex on FM. Since all hams have at least one HT, it would be nice to work on making HTs available for communication in emergencies. We might also consider choosing some 80 meter, 40 meter, and 20 meter frequency that we could use in case of a real emergency arises and FM simplex is down. We always have the old method of dictation available, and of course it works. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for the training session for tonight. And I would like to go down the list of check-ins and ask for your opinions on message handling. And I will start with KD9, HJJ.
Net control, Dave, KD9HJJ. Fred, you did an excellent job, and I think that's something that we always need to do, and we're going to be offering more training on that during our meetings, and possibly mini sets that we're going to be having throughout next year. So that's something we'll be working on. Thanks again very much, KD9HJJ Claire.
Okay, we move down to Bill, KB3, KYH. Your comments, Bill.
Okay, fine business, Fred. Good training tonight. Appreciate the refresher and the information. I agree. The accuracy is really critical, and WinLink can certainly provide that. It's a wonderful tool. It doesn't fit, like you said, for everything, but it sure works good, especially when you're dealing with details or something that you'd like to keep maybe semi-private. So that's very good. Glad you were able to highlight all these things tonight, and thanks for taking the net. KB3KYH.
Okay, Bill, thanks for your comments. And we turn now to W9, GRB. Todd, your comments, please.
Thanks, Fred. Good training and good reminder on some of these things. I agree. We do need to set up, and we're working on something of an ICS 217 alpha to give you another ICS form. That list, it's kind of like the phone book of all of the frequencies that we might use, and there we need to put together some, as you mentioned, 80, 40, 20, and maybe even 10, 15, etc. meter frequencies that we can use as a go-to, depending on our needs. I'm a little torn on some of the people that talk about loss of internet, and in my world, the internet doesn't go down. Your access to it does, and so it's a good point that if you can get a few hundred miles away, you're likely to hit a WinLink gateway that has an internet connection. But unfortunately, in today's world, if the internet truly goes down, unfortunately, they're not going to need our radios either. So just something to think about. W9GRB.
Well, thanks a lot for your comments, Todd. And I realize that, yes, there are an awful lot of things that I don't understand how it works. And But anyway, and I don't even know how the internet works. But anyway, I know it works, and but anyway, and hopefully there'll be a lot more training and talking about these kind of issues, because big disasters do happen. Anyway, how about KD9 YJH? Your comments, please. Okay, thank you for your comments. And yeah, I know. Well, I've been working on this stuff for 10 years, and I can't say I really understand all that much. But again, learning is something that I do enjoy, and learning new things is, at least in my opinion, kind of fun. Anyway, let's go to KD9 ETQ. Your comments for tonight.
This is KD9 ETQ. Yeah, great training tonight, and great comments from. I've got a new computer sitting in the box next to me, which I'm going to be dedicating to radio and Winlink and all those systems with those. Get up to date on those. That's going to be really important for us. I've just got a lot to learn. I'm kind of a newcomer here, so I've got a lot to learn.
Okay, thanks for your comments. And we move to KD9 UKA. Your comments for tonight.
KD9 UKA. I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm pretty new to this as well. I'm learning a lot. I'm not an AERES member yet, but I'm thinking about joining that and learning more about this stuff. However, I did have an interesting thought. You mentioned with P2P, which I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that it's more of a private communication, whereas it's like encrypted. But I was under the understanding that ham radio was not allowed to transmit any type of encrypted information. Or is that okay because of the emergency? But outside of that, no other comments. KD9 UKA. Thank you for the net.
You brought up an important point, but I really don't know the answer. And yes, we're not supposed to have secret things. Now, I don't know. Maybe someone more knowledgeable than I could answer his question. The P2P means person to person. And it really is a very private mode. And I was thinking maybe for medical data, but if it can't be interpreted by anybody, then the FCC would be left out. Is there anyone who might be able to talk to this issue that KD9UKA brought up?
This is the K9GB Repeater.
W9GRB.
And K9
Go ahead, GRB.
So, in reference to WinLink P2P, in some ways these aren't encrypted modes, but they are somewhat obfuscated. So you're not encrypting, you're doing everything to the letter of the law, but in a peer-to-peer connection, it's not going through any public infrastructure. It's going to radio, and you're likely to get frequency that is not common, and so somebody would have to be listening to that frequency and picking up your unencrypted transmission and listening with the right tools to pick that transmission up to get it. So it's more obfuscation than you can't call it encrypted. So that's maybe the better explanation of peer-to-peer. So we don't have GRB back to net control.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that. I figured there might be something like that, but somebody else didn't exactly double, but I didn't write down your call line. Would you please give me that again, and then your comment?
Oh, Fred, Kilo 9, Sierra Tango November. And yeah, Woodlink is not encrypted. It is also not certified. So for health information, technically it cannot be used for patient information. And it was a little misunderstanding of that. Also, all the people who have Woodlink nodes that bring in the Woodlink signals into the internet, they can actually see all the transmissions. That's one of the safety factors that keeps it being called encrypted. So that's how that works. And also, just a reminder, SEC rules, when you're operating in the air, remember to identify your station every 10 minutes, regardless of training or whatever else is going on. And one final comment. For practice for messaging, if you want practice on radiograms and ETS, daily in Wisconsin, you have the badge emergency at 12 o'clock. 3.995 megahertz, or if conditions are poor, go to 7.268 megahertz at noon and handle traffic with the state of Wisconsin. At 5 p.m., is Wisconsin sideband at same frequency, and they handle traffic across the country. If you want to put traffic across the country or across the world, practicing with radiograms and also pick up traffic from around the country. A lot of it does come between Repater, Brown area, Appleton area, so check in and get practice with that every day of the year, including Christmas years. Okay, now yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your comment. Is there anyone else listening who would like to check in tonight? Please call control KC9ZSR. KC9ZSR, this is NIRWS. NIRWS, go ahead, please. Okay, no traffic or anything like that, just start asking in there, say hi, get my voice out there. Nothing really important to add. Back to you, this is N9RWS. Okay, well, thanks for checking in, and of course, this is Brown Area Repeat, and you're certainly welcome to listen in anytime today at 7 o'clock tonight, and I look forward to hearing you again. If you're happy to consider joining the any other late check-ins or anyone else that we have, please call next call. Nothing further. And I would like to thank everyone for participating in Brown Area Network. And thanks to Relay, my team club, for allowing you to use the Repater. Cool, and definitely, yeah.
Once that goes up, I will be loading it in the radio stuff Facebook group. I haven't found the my keep up Facebook page yet, or the AERES Facebook page yet. Okay, and if you are through, I need to see if Ken is still around. Are you still around, Ken? Yeah, I hear that. Question, have you heard anything concerning the WeCom network? For about a month or so, I was hearing the L concerning the link, and didn't hear anything on the Brussels WeCom system. I know the sharing has been down for longer than that. And then Sunday afternoon, I started hearing something on the Brussels repeater that was acting like it was trying to connect to something, and then hearing timeout, disconnecting, and then hearing the Morse code L courtesy tone. So I'm just wondering if you know anything about what's going on over there, and if you could find out and possibly update us on the next connect.
This is the K9GB repeater.
Well, I do know, I did report it to the tech team that the system was linked several weeks ago, and the only response I got that there was troubleshooting in progress. They were trying to pinpoint what the exact problem was. But as far as I know, as of today, it's still in the delete mode. I just checked the Coloma limit a little bit ago, the dot links. I did do that Brussels report also with the disconnecting, so I know there's some attempts being made to fix it, but I do not know where they're at or a quick fix date. So as far as right now, they're all independent repeaters until we get word from the WeCom system, and that's where we're at. Sorry I couldn't help you more. K9STM.
No problem, Dan. You did get me, you did provide me with something I did not know, that they were trying to troubleshoot it, and maybe that's what I'm hearing on Brussels, is them trying to troubleshoot.
that may be it. To tell you the truth, I do not know, and I'm just, if anybody, until it's fixed. That's all I can tell you. And hopefully we'll get it done soon. I'll be clear, I got something else going on in the background.
Okie dokie, Stan, and once again, thanks a lot. I do appreciate it. K9STN signed. W9JE will be clear.